In the Quran, He says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honored from amongst you in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are those who are the most full of taqwa. If you noticed, I haven't yet given you the meaning of the term, because there are several interpretations of this term and all of them are correct. Some of them are broader than others. Firstly, when we hear taqwa, some people say to fear Allah is taqwa. Sometimes you hear the word to be conscious of Allah is taqwa. Both of them are correct. If you have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is part of taqwa. And if you have the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is broader than the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because consciousness includes the fear as well as the hope. And it includes the fact that we believe Allah is watching us and we are answerable to Him, and we need to obey His commands and abstain from prohibitions. Then some people say to fear Allah, to be conscious of Allah, and others say, in fact Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani has made mention of this in his explanation of the book, where he has named it Fathul Bari. That is the name of the book. He says taqwa is derived from the root word wiqayah, which means to create a barrier, or a barrier, to have a barrier. So it would mean to create a barrier between yourself and the punishment of Allah. That is the meaning of taqwa. How would you achieve that? By fulfilling the commands of Allah and abstaining from the prohibitions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, to beware of something, to be alert, to be careful of something is also included in the meaning of the term taqwa. So all these interpretations of the word are correct. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, لا فضل لعربي على عجمي ولا لعجمي على عربي إلا بالتقوى. There is no virtue of an Arab over a non-Arab, and there is no virtue of a non-Arab over an Arab. And in one narration he continues, he says, there is no virtue for white over black, no virtue of black over white, except by taqwa, by the consciousness of the Creator. Whoever is more conscious is closer to the Creator. Allah does not look at your size, your shape, your wealth, your color, where you come from, what accent you speak in and what language you know. No. He looks at whether or not you have consciousness of Him. If you are conscious, if you have piety, in fact that brings us to another meaning of the term taqwa, is also piety. If a person has piety, then inshallah they will be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant that to us.